FSU files a motion to dismiss in North Carolina.
The FSU lawsuit is always in the news, so we're back on the big mountain to keep you updated.
Hey, it's great to have you here back on the mountain. If you're new to the channel, we welcome you. Make sure you remember to subscribe to the channel. We're growing every day, Steve. It's awesome. We appreciate all the great commenters and things that we have. But if you're new to the channel, I'm JY. This is Steve, and Steve, we're going to dive back into the FSU lawsuit. This has been ongoing now almost, I hate to say daily, because that's a little overboard, but every other day it seems like something new happens. This is a big deal where FSU files a motion to dismiss or stay the case in North Carolina. They filed this on February 7th. And I'm just going to briefly run over the things that they put into this motion, and then we can obviously have our discussion as we always have. So let me go through kind of the details here. But again, February 7th, they file a motion to dismiss or stay the ACC complaint for declaratory judgment filed back on December 21st, 2023 in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. FSU states the case that they called a race to the courthouse, if you remember. ACC filed theirs one day prior to FSU filing theirs in Florida. But they call this a race to the courthouse, is fundamentally flawed and subject to dismissal for the following reasons, and they list 5. Number 1, the ACC prematurely filed suit before any actual controversy arose. Number 2, the ACC made no attempt to provide member notice or to obtain the 2/3 vote required by the ACC Constitution in their initial lawsuit. Number 3, the ACC is not permitted to sue the FSU board in North Carolina, as FSU has not waived sovereign immunity except within the state of Florida. Number 4, the amended complaint fails to plead that FSU approved the grant of rights. And number 5, North Carolina law does not support the attempt to impose board fiduciary duties on its members to act in the best interest of the ACC. A few of these things we actually talked about in our last video, where they actually put some of this in their amended filing, specifically that 2/3 vote. They had that in their amended filing. If you heard that video and you listened all the way to the end, we did actually get into that. So then moving forward, they first are requesting a dismissal, but if that's not approved, then they're asking for a stay be ordered in favor of the Florida action that was brought by FSU. And we have now learned, just a few days after this was put in place, or at least submitted, that a date has been set for this motion to dismiss or stay, and that date is March 22nd. As we have been through this with the PAC, that sounds far away. It is going to breeze by because if you remember, February 16th, the end of this week, will be the deadline for them to file anything that they have in their original cases. There's going to be a lot that comes out after that. You can still look at amendments and things. So March 22nd, not that far off, and that's specific to this motion to dismiss or stay the ACC lawsuit. I know I've said that a few times. I just want to be uber clear about what this is doing. That's the facts. Them's the details. Where are you thinking, Steve? Where are we at?
So the timing issue, I'm not seeing much there as far as the timing of the race to. The thing is the day before FSU, filed their own board, had a meeting about this, public meeting. I think both of us might have been on that call on that meeting, where they basically telegraphed that they were going to sue to get out.
Right.
They approved their solicitor to go forward with the suit, if I remember correctly, on that meeting. So I'm not sure that one carries a lot of water.
Yeah.
The other part, and like you said, we talked about this on other episodes, if indeed they required a 2/3 majority of the ACC board to approve that suit, and they didn't do that, and they didn't get that, I think that could be huge.
Yep.
And if so, that's just another self-inflicted wound of the ACC on themselves. So I'm really interested to see how that part plays out. You and I have been on the sovereign immunity issue from the very beginning.
Right.
And yes, there's some indications that Florida State waived their sovereign immunity within the state of Florida.
Yeah.
But this lawsuit taking place in North Carolina, and I think there's still a lot of uncertainty if Florida State even really has the ability to waive sovereign immunity, which to me, that issue is either going to be settled in a federal court or more appropriately first before that point would be settled in the courts in the state of Florida.
Right.
So that's kind of an open question. So those are the two areas that really stick out to me as areas where I could see the North Carolina judges, I have a little hard time seeing that they're going to dismiss it, except for the 2/3. The 2/3 majority might be something where they could dismiss it. The sovereign immunity issue, I could definitely see that as a reason to stay it, stay any kind of decision or movement in that trial in North Carolina until the state of Florida issue gets worked out.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you with the first point, the timing of the suit. Before an actual controversy arose, is what is in. There was huge controversy. Now, was there an actual filing? No, there wasn't. But there were fires. I mean, clearly the smoke was just billowing. So I agree.
Yeah.
That one, I don't know if that one holds much water. The 2/3 vote thing, absolutely, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And the sovereign immunity piece, and we'll probably get answers to those, at least for this judge, in terms of who's going to hear this in North Carolina about a dismissal or a stay, to give us an idea. Okay, who I hate to say has a leg up, but this is really even. Can the ACC even file suit against FSU? This doesn't have a whole lot to do with the FSU suit at all.
Right.
In Florida, that's full speed ahead.
Right.
This is FSU trying to stop the ACC lawsuit and not even get into anything, right? If that's dismissed, it doesn't happen. And we completely shift to Florida where clearly the turf is on FSU's side. Right. So, I agree with a lot of what you said there. We're going to stay on this stuff. It was interesting. I mean, FSU just seems to be ready for anything the ACC is gonna do, at least right now.
Yeah.
I know we had a couple fans or a couple viewers that were more ACC focused, not FSU focused. And I think they didn't appreciate some of the things we had to say on the last one, but we're just giving you to it as it is, or as we read it. We don't have a dog in this race, skin in the game, whatever the case you may be at all. We're reading these for what they are and giving you our thoughts from a complete outsider's perspective. And again, we're not lawyers. We're probably going to say that every time. But yeah, I'll tell you what, FSU looking mighty strong right now with where they're at. But that can turn real quick when you get answers to some of the amended questions and everything FSU has put in. Once ACC files and potentially answers some of these questions, my mind can change, absolutely. But very strong case right now, at least what FSU, very one-sided, but very much strong in the terms of where FSU's at.
I like to use that analogy, the chess analogy, move, counter move, or whatever. And we, at the very beginning, we saw that with the timing of those suits and everything, and it was like move, counter move. But it just feels like right now that we're in that point where Florida State is putting pressure on, making pressure move after pressure move, and the ACC is kind of stumbling back on their heels. Maybe they come out, maybe they're holding something big.
Sure.
Maybe if they can get past this and if it's not dismissed or stayed, and they can get past this and start to make some of their arguments in court in North Carolina, maybe they can kind of get the momentum back. But for right now, it really feels like the ACC's on their heels.
Yes, totally agree. With that, we'll close this one out. We are going to stay on it. Steve, I'm wearing a new shirt. We've got our merch out. First time wearing my new merch from the Big Mountain. We got the link down below if you're interested in any of our gear. We got all kinds of goodies down there. Please make sure you give us a like to this episode. Give us a subscribe if you like our content. And with that, we'll see you guys next time on the Big Mountain.